Hello, welcome to another Go Battle League video. This time we're going to take a look at some Holiday Cup battles. They're not my own. I have been doing decent these past couple days in Holiday Cup with Chandler actually lately. You'll probably see some content on Twitch on that if you've been looking at that. No, we're actually going to look at the battles of featured battler here, ThoTechtical. Now, before we get into the battles, just real quick about him. I know he's been a little bit off the grid regarding content creating, but the man just needs a little bit of time for himself. He will be back later. Just give him some time. The team that he is running is Skarmory, Double, and Shadow Abomasnow. Shadow Abomasnow is somewhat just meant to core break, really. Like, it hard beats Lantern, which is all over the place, and it beats Altaria pretty well. Obviously, it's also very weak to like fighting, so I think Abomasnow is a little bit high risk, high reward, but it can be a really good core breaker. Double, in my opinion, is the safest Pokemon in this league. There's no hard answer to it, zero. It has play against about everything. The worst is probably something like an Altaria. Skarmory, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Skarmory generally, because it usually depends on defensive typing. Its moveset is just not really great. He's actually running Steel Wing on it. We discussed that earlier the day, because Steel Wing just does a little bit better against like ice types. Like Frostlass, he admitted, was the thing he struggled against, and that's why Steel Wing is a little bit better there. Now, I don't think it's a great team, but you know, don't tell ThoTechtical I say this in this video, but I think he's really good, so he can probably make it work. Let's take a look at these battles. This is a fantastic lead because Steel Wing is double super effective on that Alolan Ninetales being Ice and Fairy. But in comes a Sableye Sasewap, which he does not have a great answer against. Now, one thing that's interesting about swapping and losing a turn, if you swap immediately at the start of a battle, you lose one turn. But if you do like two fast moves, you actually don't lose a turn during swapping. That's why he actually gets the CMP here. He then swaps in his Shadow Abomasnow, probably because after these Steel Wings, the Sableye is in Weather Ball range with a couple Power Snows. And he comes out with energy for that Alolan Ninetales, which is just great because energy ball is going to hit like a truck. And especially after like 3 Steel Wings, it already took like 10% damage, I think. Maybe a little bit less, but still a nice chunk. In comes the first energy ball. This will do a truckload of damage. Probably puts it deep into the red. It does get shielded, actually. And he gets the defense drop, which is kind of huge. Oh man, he doesn't get there, but he is so fast with his reaction to get this Weather Ball off before the Obstagoon counters it down. And that's a really nice chunk, because he's also not really great against Obstagoon. Obstagoon puts up a very good fight against Skarmory, actually wins with shields up, beats Abomasnow, and does very well against Double. Now, Double generally wins because of a super effective double kick and body slam coming out so fast. But you also take super effective counter and cross chop, so it's so matchup. And now he's going to finish off this Alolan Ninetales with Skarmory, and that's a very good game. That fast reaction may have actually been decisive, because otherwise he may have not had this shield here. And that allows him to farm down. Very well played. Alright, ThoTechtical versus Dancing Rob, the reigning world champion. Now, Dancing Rob, very good German battler, is a classic ABB Andy, and it's very likely that if he's also running a Skarmory, again, I don't think Skarmory is great, but if these players are using it, it must do something. It's very likely that Dancing Rob is running something in the back to bait out like a grass type. He swaps the Vigoroth here. Usually, like a Vigoroth swap implies that there's another Pokemon weak to fighting in the back. The thing with this cup, though, is that the fighters are basically Vigoroth and Obstagoon, so you can't really bait out a fighter. Worst case scenario, you get a Drifblim aligned to this, and that's not even the worst. The good thing about Skarmory, though, is it doesn't really need to shield moves from the Vigoroth. Dancing Rob goes 2 shields down here, and then though goes into that double, but the one problem here is Vigoroth already has so much energy, plus it might be another counter user in the back, and Tho's really trying to manage his energy well, but he may have lost track a little bit here, because I think Dancing Rob overfarmed a little bit. Gonna do another one, and man, this really sucks, because that Skarmory already has energy. The timer is up from Dancing Rob. Oh man, and this kind of hurts, because though this is actually a really smart play, it just didn't work. It's a really smart play because he expected Dancing Rob to snipe with this Skarmory immediately. Unfortunately, that did not work. He then goes into Skarm and catches on a Abomasnow, I guess? I think he should do it the other way around, but... And that does so much damage. He actually... Oh, man. Yeah, that's an obstacle. There was no way. That's what I mean with, like... Oh, man, that's a really good lead again. But that's, again, like, Abomasnow is really high risk, high reward. That had 3 counts on it. Now, he does get some alignment here, but as Mandibuzz user, I know that Mandibuzz is not bad here with a slight energy advantage. And especially with the Snarl, you outpace just barely with the energy advantage. If it's Air Slash, though, I believe you have an even better matchup because you have super effective Air Slash. I'm not sure if that flips the 2 shields here. I do know you win the 0 shields, but as you can see here, now Tho has so much energy here. He throws on CMP, which is a little bit iffy because if the opponent shields, he gets 2 shields down. And that is indeed what they're going to do. But at least he gets a full farm then now. And then he comes out with a full energy ball, which is nice, I guess. But he is shields down. However, that alignment is really nice. Timing is energy ball perfectly here. This is gonna do a truckload of damage to that Alola Ninetales, which probably doesn't get shielded anyway. Ah, man, he barely doesn't get the weather ball off. And in the back is an Altaria. This is somewhat iffy. So this is where the Abomasnow would have been nice to have, but the opponent baited it out. Classic ABB Andy. Yeah, let's see. First Skytech coming in here. He's staying in there with this matchup, which surprised me. I think you kind of just want to throw your double in here because it just doesn't have much to do. Or actually, Skarmory is the Pokemon you want to keep for the Alolan Ninetales, I think. And at this health range, it's not really that great anymore. But since he baited that Brave Bird successfully first with the Skytech, he wins the 0-2-1s here easily. And since Alolan Ninetales already is so low, I guess I understand why he was fine with double there. Now he's playing Ash's Skillno, who was really close to Legend here, and he's leading Obstagoon. Usually Obstagoon leads are paired with Ghosts in the back, and that could be very fine for Tho if it's like a Trevenant, because he has that Abomasnow in the back. Could also be something like an Alolan Marowak, however, and that would be terrible. Now you can see how well Obstagoon actually does here, and especially with Steel Wing, I think it's just gonna win the 0 shields here. I mean, obviously Tho is not going for Brave Bird here, but still. If he goes Brave Bird, you definitely win 0 shields. And it does get shielded. Can I go for another one? Can the Obstagoon farm down? Oh man, it can almost farm down, but the opponent is not aware of the counts and has to eat the Skytech to the face and actually wins his matchup with a shoot up. That's huge. And I think that was an opposing Steel Wing Skarmory. It is the opposing Steel Wing Skarmory. Okay, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Interesting. That's 2 Frostless answers already. I kind of like Steel Wing Skarmory because it just surprises things. Like even like in a Alolan Gravel, it's gonna take a little bit more damage against Steel Wing. You lose harder to Lantern, but I mean that's still a matchup you never win anyway. Speaking of which, opponent might be playing something like ABB against Lantern because man, Skarmory in the back is just so scary to run like that. And there it is, the Celesteela, probably to bait out the Lantern. And this thing has Smackdown, which is, I don't like it really because it's non-stab. It just doesn't hit that hard. And you're going to see now that the Shadow Abomasnow comes in, and it's actually not even that bad of a matchup for the Shadow Abomasnow here. Celesteela with already quite some energy. Abomasnow with 1 shield. I think this is a little bit on par, but like super effective Smackdowns just don't do as much. Or at least I don't feel like it does more than the Power Snow and the Weather Balls as you'd expect it to be. Celesteela actually winning CMP, but it's also not really bulky and it gets kicked down by the double. I just love that animation. Alright, so what does this team do against fire? Let's take a look. It's a Litleo lead, opponent answers with Altaria, and I guess that's the play. I don't sometimes it happens. There's not a lot of fire lead. Most fire I've seen is like in the back. Another Obstagoon lead. Let's see how this one goes. What I really hate about neutral Obstagoon matchups is that there's always a chance for the opponent to boost, right? Like, if you're the Obstagoon, it's fantastic. I find it fantastic to have an easy opportunity to boost over and over and over and over. But if it's the opponent, and I hate it. We already seen this earlier. He can actually survive this Night Slash and get to another one, which is pretty wicked. Or is it IV depend? Let's see. Look at that. Survives one more. He does it again. He does it again. Gets to another Sky Attack. That's incredible. Comes with the double to farm this down. This time the opponent double shoots rather than letting it go. That makes sense because this thing has so much energy. But I think when Tho realizes this Obstagoon is gone, that Abomasnow might have a lot of play in the back. Depending what it is, of course. In comes the Charm Alolan Ninetales. This is not great because Shadow Abomasnow does not have a great matchup here because of resisted ice moves. Looks like he's going to swap it in. Just bring it into Energy Ball real quick. By the time he gets there, he's already at half HP. And now we need something like a Lantern or Altaria on the back. Let's see what it is. He's throwing up more energy here. This seems like bad timing, but because this Energy Ball will KO the Alolan Ninetales, the damage doesn't register. So a really good play by Tho. And let's see what's in the back. I think there's still Obstagoon alive, but it has like no HP. It is a Frostless. That's one thing he definitely did not want to see. So yeah, again, this is one of those matchups where Abomasnow just doesn't have a lot of play. I really like Abomasnow, especially as a core breaker to Lantern and Altaria. I use it myself as well, like the first edition of Holiday Cup. But yeah, this time around, I just don't see it happening, especially because everyone's running fighters for like a double. Alright, João Victor, really good and young player from Brazil, is leading Dunsparce. Dunsparce is what G-Fisk should have been. Not as broken, just suffices, right? Like hitting everything for super effective, but not being super broken. I really like Dunsparce, don't get me wrong. The animation is really misleading, I find myself. So you sometimes have to just like count in turns here. He's actually going for the Brave Bird. Skarmory has a pretty dominant matchup here because like in neutral situations, Dunsparce doesn't do as great because its whole moveset is non-stab. So you really just rely on super effective damage. His move pool is good though. João Victor answers with a Shadow Venusaur. Obviously, you don't want it against the Skarmory, even though the Stealing Scar might not be the worst at like the health ranges it is right now. And he actually shoots this Frenzy Plant. Double does not have a bad matchup against Venusaur, despite Double Kick being resisted. If you have one Double Kick advantage, you win. You can win the zeros and the one-shoes against both Shadow and normal Venusaur. Might be a little bit IV dependent. But that's just how good Double actually really is. It's a shame we haven't had it for a while. And let's see what he's going to do here. In comes Frostless. He goes for the payback. I really like this because if this doesn't get shooted, I might barely not take it out. And if it does get shooted, you now can land an Energy Ball. But João Victor, again, really good. Catches on the Dunsparce. Actually knows his counts for the Steel Wing. That's pretty cool. Let's see what João Victor is going to do. All this Steel Wing damage is really nice because this allows the Abomasnow to maybe take it out with a Weather Ball plus Power Slam. It's going to get really, really close like that. I'm not sure if you can outpace to the Energy Ball because Frostless is likely to get to 2 moves here. It already has so much energy. In comes the first Avalanche. You do survive as Abomasnow, but Abomasnow is really fragile as Shadow variant, so you probably get into farm down range. First Weather Ball comes in. João Victor waits a turn there to see if Tho tries to catch or not. And now it comes down to false moves. Let's see what he can do. Barely doesn't get to the Weather Ball, but one kick. Yep, one kick from the sheep. Easy clap. I wouldn't say that. It was a really close matchup. Either way, next lead is Vigoroth. This is one of those matchups where Skarmory kind of lacks, but it's also not bad, simply because Vigoroth is the one to shoot here, and Skarmory really isn't, because you resist the charge moves here. Well, if they have Brick Break, it's neutral, but Body Slam actually does more despite being resisted. That's how bad of a move Brick Break is, really. So yeah, opponent already used one shield here, Tho did not. I think you will be able to get to a move. Well, they throw now, so you don't. But otherwise, you will be able to get there. And he's actually going for a switch advantage here. Let's see. And Tho also waits a turn there, really smart to see if they catch it. Like, you don't want it to be caught on a lantern or something. Let's see what comes in. It is an Obstagoon, and he swaps into double right away, which is kind of scary. Obviously, you don't want to give Obstagoon too much energy, but you also don't really want it on a Abomasnow. I also think I recognize this player, so I think already. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. There's this guy. I've played him as well. And he had the Shadow Alolan Marowak in the back. They tried to catch it, but Tho was sharp and didn't throw the Body Slam right away. There actually tries to land on the payback, but opponent shielded, and here it comes. The next one doesn't take it out yet. Double is a little bit defensive weighted. Payback is a really good move, but like super effective payback just doesn't do the job most of the time. Fire types are really scary for Tho. He needs a catch here. He needs a catch here, and then maybe a Winnable will take out the Pokemon, but he barely doesn't get the farm down. Maybe his count was one off. Maybe he didn't believe in the catch. And now Obstagoon comes in. Oh man, he tried to catch there. He tried to swap real quick, but wasn't able to. In comes Nice Slash, and that's game over. Yeah, that's triple Abomasnow counter yet again. That's just tough to deal with. All right, another Vigoroth lead. Opponent farming up a lot, and they try to throw on CMP, which tells me that the opponent knows the count of... oh, they go for Bulldoze, actually. Listen, don't go for Bulldoze ever in a neutral situation. Or when both are resisted or both are neutral, you never go for Bulldoze, really. In comes a Dunsparce, and again, Dunsparce really lacks in neutral situations, so he brings in a double here, but double is not as dominant as like a Vigoroth here, because low kick just does less. He does have 2 moves here, but Dunsparce is quite bulky. I don't think that will take it out just yet. In fact, it might get to another move, and Tho knows this, so he's going for payback. Okay, that's smart. I like it. I like it. It doesn't get shielded, and it takes out Dunsparce. Let's see. That's kind of smart too, because that way he preserves a shield, right? Now he doesn't have to shield the double, because if he threw the Body Slam there, it would have survived and get to a move. And this is really good for Tho, because now... they catch on Lantern. Because now both Vigoroth and Dunsparce are kind of gone. They're not really a threat for the Abomasnow anymore. Speaking of Abomasnow, it finally gets the matchup it really wants. And this is where you wall Lantern and just destroy it. Speaking of Lantern, now he leads into this. This is a horrible lead. You need to flip this or like... I don't know, do something tricky here. He actually gets an extra low double kick in here, so that's nice. But the one thing you don't want to see come in here is an Altaria or something. Let's see. Opponent's still staying in. Maybe they're double strong against the Skarmy, or they don't have a hard answer to double. They'll actually go for payback here, just going to get rid of all his energy, so he doesn't have to shoot it. Man, it does take it out, but it gets close. But this is somewhat scary. I guess the hardest wall possible. To what's it called? To Skarmy is somewhat gone, but also not really, right? Because Steel Wing double resisted just doesn't do that much. He's also just gonna swap out. You don't want your double to get farmed by a Sableye. It will get so much energy that it will become unstoppable. And I think at this point, I think Tho just lays this all in the hands of the Abomasnow. If it's a fighter, so it. If it's a fighter, so it. I read you, Tho. If it's an Altaria, maybe it's double goes with Trevenant. That'd be wonderful. Sky Tech comes in. This will definitely take out Lantern, even though double resisted. Yeah, opponent does shield. It's a Trevenant, actually. And as you can see, like, you don't see much of it, but it's just not as great as with Air Slash, right? Because you don't deal super effective damage, despite Steel Wing dealing a little bit more damage. But yeah, at this point, yes, there's a Abomasnow aligned there. Power Stones add up a lot here, and like the Trevenant needs so much energy. It's not gonna get there, and that's actually a win for Abomasnow. So Abomasnow's been very iffy, in my opinion. Like you either break course or the whole team beats it, so that makes it difficult. Skarmy, he told me that Steel Wing might be a little bit better than Air Slash. It's difficult to say. And I can imagine, because Skarmy is just a Pokemon that sometimes lacks a bit. I feel like it's really good for setting up like a shield advantage, because usually, for some reason, Vigoroths just like to stay in there. So yeah, thank you Tho for the battles, and thank you everyone for watching. Hope you liked the video. We'll be back with more Obstagoon content tomorrow. Have a good one. See you later. Bye bye.